I'm a little bit different in the horse business than most of the people. I grew up on a farm in Long Island, New York, and went to college and flew in the Navy and worked in New York City, and I finally went back to the farm. I married my wife, and she was always had horses. Finally, we had a horse barn going, and I wound up starting teaching the hunters, and had some very good ponies, and one at all the major horse shows that we went to in the United States at that time. Hunters are kind of the same thing. You can compare it to good music. Hunters, they're very slow to watch, okay, and they have to perform in a certain way that is classic, and if it's not, it doesn't work. And in an area of being around New York City, it was basically hunters and hunter equitation. What you'd instilled in the kids that you had as students, and how they turned out, and what they accomplished. And not only their accomplishments in the horse business, but their accomplishments in school and what they turned into as young adults. And that was probably the most satisfactory thing that has happened with me as far as that's concerned. I have 3 children, and the oldest one is Jagger, which is a family name, and he runs Swan Creek Farms. He and his wife Mandy run Swan Creek Farms now, which is my wife and I's original farm. I have Gretchen, who was a super pony rider, and she rides for Meadowview Farms, which is basically in a private barn, and she rides their horses for her. And then I have another son who was a super rider. Matter of fact, he was reserve champion of the National Pony Finals, and he looked at me one day and he said, "You know what? I'm gonna ride motorcycles." So he went to riding motorcycles and did a career in that. I got involved in it because I was at a horse show, and I had a really good pony, and the class was held, and it made no sense to me the way it was judged. And it wasn't just myself, it made no sense to me the way it was judged. So I went to the steward, and also who was the manager of that horse show, and I said, "Listen, we've all traveled long ways, and nobody understands what went on here today, okay?" And he looked at me, and he said, "Today is over. There's nothing I can do about it today. But if you're really interested in trying to improve and help in this sport, you should," and he happened to be chairman of the Zone Committee at that time, "you should come to the Zone 2 committee meeting and take an active part in that and help me." And I did that. And I became very active working in Zone 2, which is that New York, Pennsylvania area. I became very active in working in that and trying to improve the sport. And I wound up being co-chairman of Zone 2. And then I wound up being on the Hunter Council with Beth. That's how we kind of got together. And that's how I got involved in it, more on, I'd say, at an administrative level, trying to make it a level playing field. I was very interested in those, and I came in on that area rather than being a great personal horseman myself. And I have found that the administrative part of the business is something that I really enjoy doing. It's something I've done all my life, and in other fields, and I'm very comfortable with it, and I've helped out in the process.